Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 828, being recorded on July 2nd, 2025. I'm Sebastian Peak.
Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walworth.
I will not be speaking with an English accent tonight. I'm Brett Van Spurmer.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
Why would you be speaking in an English accent at all?
Like all the other
ask him that.
podcasts, I've decided not to continue with the English accent thing. I'm putting it aside.
Technically, linguists have determined that the American accent is actually closer to what they spoke in Old England than the current English accent.
Which part of America?
You are technically speaking in an English accent.
Only the Deep South. The Deep South is
The Deep
closest to
South,
Old
yes,
English.
actually, that's true.
Yes.
The Deep South.
But-
Okay, yep.
In England, their dialects last less distance. You can literally throw a rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
You walk that far over, and there will be a different accent going on.
Kevin says, I think Kent is talking
Ken is
twaddle.
Talking twaddle.
Look,
No,
I haven't
seriously.
studied language as much as Kent has, so I can't argue with him.
There's some ASMR suggestions. Talk like a pirate day. You never know where this kind of conversation is going to go. It's always enlightening.
Let's see. Patreon. This is the Patreon segment of the podcast. Brett, do you want to name names?
You know, I do. I could name them all, but boy, we'd be here forever, wouldn't we? Instead, I'm just going to name a few, one of which is G. Wallen, and he really likes trout. I could explain why, but I'm not going to. That's just between me and G. Wallen. Space Ninja is another one. Now, you may not have heard it, but when I said Space Ninja, I actually used the number 8 in the middle of space. Subtle, but it's there. Space Ninja. Thank you very much. And Crease. You probably couldn't tell, but I actually capitalized every letter of that. He'll understand. She. Could be she, but I'm going to go with he. Crease. Thanks all.
Crease is simply crease.
It is simply Crease.
Yeah, it's
All caps.
hard to define.
It is.
Was his father Apollo Crease?
Ooh, too soon.
Thank you for that segue into Food with Josh.
Me.
Take it away.
You know, I surrounded by dismay and trash and garbage and overly cluttered offices because apparently, I don't know. I'm not going to blame anybody but myself because, you know, my decisions for the past 30 years have brought me to this place. So I'd had it. Work has been tough. Not a whole lot of fun. So I deserved something. I deserved something nice. And I got something nice. And I got the cheesesteak from Born in the Barn. And it came out fantastic. The hatch green chilies that they used in this were super fresh, super tangy, and really bright. And actually had a bit of an edge to them. So that's, you know, a shaved sirloin steak rather than, you know, crappy, steakums, things like that. Cheese, some onions in there. It was fantastic. I ate the whole thing, and then I had that for lunch, right? And I came home, and I thought I'm gonna have to exercise, and so I did, and it hurt me because this was still so much food in my gut, even after damn near 6 hours. So yeah, I didn't have as long of a workout as I was hoping, but it was worth it because it was really good. And yeah, I'm not eating again until tomorrow lunch. Cheesesteak. Cheese.
Munching on a cheesesteak.
Two important questions, Josh, from the chat. One,
Sure.
is that offered every day or is it a special?
It's been a special for like the last 3 weeks, but eventually it's going to go away.
So if I fly to Laramie next week, there's a
It
chance
may
it
not
can
be
still
there.
be there. Oh, okay. Second question, is that in fact raw hamburger in the plastic bag behind you? Oh, okay. It looks like cloth.
Exercise ball?
It looks like rope.
Oh, it does look like really. It's
This
kind
bag
of
is not a toy.
Stop playing with it.
No, it's some kind of netting. I don't know why my wife got it. but it's not a toy, and it's not to be played with. So obviously she ordered it, and it's super, super important, which is why it's been laying on her desk.
For at least a week now.
Oh, more
When
than
your
that.
wife starts buying rope and not telling you about it, it might be time to worry.
Oh, death,
least
where
it's
is thou
pink.
sting? So I shuffle off this mortal coil.
Let us move to the PC Perspective news desk, and I wish this could be the featured review. I wish we weren't just talking about this from a distance, but NVIDIA has launched another RTX graphics card, possibly their greatest graphics product to date.
Well, what do you think
And-
the chances are on that?
I don't know.
About 50-50?
I think you might be onto something there, Jeremy. Yes, it's the
Jeremy.
RTX 5050. They didn't want this reviewed, so it was not sampled, and it will soon be on sale. I think there's at least one source out there. Inno3D, I think, had some benchmarks that were leaked out, so we get an idea of its
game
performance. We'll look at that in
Changes
just
your
a
game
moment.
to unplayable.
Oh,
It makes it green.
MSRP.
Wow.
I was thinking $200. It is $249. So this is a product with a 128-bit memory bus. It's just 20 gigabit per second. I'm assuming GDDR6 because it has
Yes.
only 320 gigs of memory bandwidth per second. $249. You'd be well on your way to a 60 series card, like the 2060. That was $279.
Yes.
And this is just a 5050. This is like a $129 card, but here we are.
You can get an Intel B570 for less than that. And I think you've got 10 gigs of memory
Yeah.
and a slightly faster bus.
Let's look at some benchmarks. I mean, we're all speechless right now.
Let's
thinking
do some
about
benchmarks.
the magnitude of this launch. So this is.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
This is according. Whoa, that's very small. According to
That's not
one
good.
leaked. Whoa, it's dancing all over the screen. Hold on a second here.
That's better.
Oh, what a feeling. The graphs are dancing on the...
I like how they charted the 3060. Oh, not a good sign. Uh-oh.
Okay, so looking at this 3D Mark chart, which features the 3060, 4060, and 5050, the 5050 is marginally faster, usually, than the 4060. Sometimes slower. So, yeah, trading blows with the 4060. I'm assuming 8
At
gig.
640 by 480 with, do they specify
I'd
what
say-
they tested this
I'd
at?
say
No,
it's
still
it's marginal plus above the 3060.
marginal plus.
Yeah.
Marginal plus.
That's a pretty
Good on you guys.
for
Good on ya.
$250. The 4060 just needs to be forgotten. That was such a devastating launch. In fact, it was what inspired them, I'm sure, not to even launch, not to have launch reviews, I should say, of the 5050. They were very selective about reviews of the 5060 Ti, only sending out the 16 gigabyte model, and then just quietly launching their 8 gigabyte products this year. Wait a minute, is this an 8 gigabyte product or is it less?
No, it's 8.
It's 8. Okay,
It's
it's
a
eight.
whole
It is
It
eight.
wouldn't shock me if they had a 4 version.
Oh,
for $229.
Yeah.
You know, it's a significant savings. I'm sure. I
runs
doubt.
a static desktop just like your grandma used to run.
By Grabthar's hammer, what a savings.
You can save even more by keeping the graphics card you already have, like the 1080 Ti. Unfortunately, in a related
about that.
story, NVIDIA has confirmed the end of support for the GTX 700, 900, and 10 series, which includes the 1080 Ti, after this 580 driver series. So this is it.
Newman! The GTX 16 series will remain supported.
Oh, good.
The close cousin to the I'd say
Yes.
the 10 series. It will actually maintain support after the 580 branch moves on. But these things are what, 8-10 years old, right?
So
Yeah.
2015?
So time marches on. No, I'm sad about this as well. I mean, I have a 1080 Ti.
I'd be fine with that if they'd replace it with something that was both performant and affordable, but that's asking way too much, isn't it?
My son still got a 1070, and he just doesn't want to get rid of it. And I don't know why, but all he does is play like League of Legends and Fortnite and
Because you want
That driver-
for a video card?
The driver won't suddenly stop working. The one that
That's
can
true.
talk
Well,
to it will
yeah.
continue to work.
Yeah. He's going to be gone this weekend, so I think I'm going to do one of those surprise makeovers, like blow out all the
Of
dust.
yourself?
No.
Oh, you
No,
mean like a
that-
home
big
makeover kind of a
one.
thing?
Yeah, but for his PC.
This is like where you bring
I'm sure that won't annoy him at all.
you bring
Hey,
the car to the
I
shop.
blew away
and-
your Windows install, but look, you have more RAM.
No.
wondering if
He,
he had,
he's
like,
got like a
extra-
256 gig SSD, a SATA 6
Oh,
SSD,
Lord.
and I've got like several 1 terabyte NVMe drives just not being used. So just gonna
If
get
you
that
use mouse
and
pad,
probably
Ripper XXL.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's the makeover everyone needs.
I think that those are just boxes of dust now.
At this
Oh,
point,
okay.
you're probably right.
I should do an unboxing
Come
of
on.
one of those.
Do you got any masks left? You might want to wear one.
Moving on to the next video cards story. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 Super. I did not misspeak, though I have done so repeatedly in this podcast. The Super will have so many CUDA cores, 6,400 of them, in fact. 18 gigabytes
Mic drop
of memory.
moment. There it
The
is.
full GB205. If these rumors are true, Copite 7 Kimmy says they are. Well, actually, nowhere in this tweet does Copite say this is true. It's just a series of, non sequitur statements.
But he did talk about the 5070 Ti Super specs as well,
Okay.
with the TDP of that being 415 watts.
Don't you mean 350 watts?
Sure, whatever.
415
Yes.
for the 5080 Super.
Yes, apologies.
24 gigabytes. This is really the story here. I saw a rumor that there was going to be a 5080 Super, and here it is on the chart. 10,752 CUDA cores. That's the same total as the current 5080, but 24 gigs of memory instead of only 16. And the higher TGP suggests not only, of course, more memory power draw, but perhaps higher clocks as well.
Perhaps.
To further differentiate, that could be upwards of 4, possibly even 5% faster than the non-super variant.
Can we talk about how such a poor deal the RTX 5080 actually is? It's still
Again?
$1,400. Yep, $1,400 for a 16 gig card. I don't get it.
Maybe that 5080 Super might actually be faster than a 4090. Maybe.
Maybe. Higher memory bandwidth will help. I don't know. Maybe at 450 watts it would. Because, these scale pretty evenly with their previous generation cousins, close cousins, when they have the same power draw. It's almost like this was just a slightly more efficient, slightly more efficient spin on the same exact architecture as last year. Next, from actually not videocars.com, Tech Power Up. Here's the rumor. Some Intel Nova Lake CPUs, we talked about Nova Lake last week, I think, rumored to challenge AMD's 3D V cache. So if you can't beat them, join them. One glues CPUs together, the other one glues CPUs together. And so it goes on and on. Then it was tiles. Now it's 3D V cache. They already have this
It's
technology
similar.
for data center, right? Intel
They do,
BLLC.
I'm
They do have it
unsure.
for data center.
Intel's BLLC technology already exists in Clearwater Forest server processors where local cache integrates into the base tile positioned beneath active tiles, says this article at Tech Power Up.
Oh.
So they're like, wait a minute, we already have this technology.
It mirrors AMD's 9000 series X3D design. Oh, if you can't beat them,
when they originally talked about this a couple of years ago, a lot of people were thinking, Intel's going to do the same thing. They're going to use TSMC. They're going to stack the 3D cache on top of the CPU. And you've got all the heatsink issues that it all has. But apparently, Pat G was talking about, no, they were developing their own, not only for themselves, but in theory for partners. And so it seems like they skipped the whole, cache on top of the CPU and went with the cache kind of in the base silicon that AMD has done with the 9000 series that we all, praise to the heavens as a revolution. And, Intel was, they had the idea for a while and they were able to implement it. And now we'll probably see it in the next generation on desktop. Maybe not mobile, but maybe on desktop. And its competition is good because right now AMD's valued about 3 times higher than Intel, even though Intel is still physically a more valued company with more employees and more sales. But, the stock market doesn't always make sense
for how long
it comes to valuation. NVIDIA is almost $4 trillion now, just, letting you know. But yeah, 3D V-Cache, it's the future.
I did read another article where Intel is slipping a bit in server as well. It's sort of sad to see.
Oh, yeah.
Slipping is a nice way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah. No, they've gone to about 50% quarterly market share in servers, which, obviously that was their big beef. And AMD, not only do they get that, I don't think they're at 50%, but it's up there. It's past 25.
It was like 70, but it's dropping.
No, yeah. Anyway,
and
AMD has GPUs that they're actually selling at that high end level too. So their margins are looking better and better, and Intel's is looking worse and worse.
Next up, this story from the Register: folks aren't buying the PCs that U.S. vendors stockpiled to dodge tariffs. Shocking. They shipped over a ton of stuff, thinking it was going to help their bottom line later on because it was all based on
and Windows 11 and a couple of other reasons that kind of made sense. But AI was making money.
AI powered Windows 11 machines, Jeremy, are revolutionizing the PC industry.
I have heard
TV commercials that I've seen,
and Windows 10 will definitely be cut off immediately, and Microsoft will never back. Oh wait, remember last week? Yeah, they've already backed off a little bit.
Nobody cares to upgrade because they don't want to get rid of their Windows 10.
Yeah,
for one reason.
I don't.
This is Vista 2.0. They didn't learn their lesson. It's there's new management at the company, and
it wasn't them, Sebastian. It was the customers.
Right, it's their fault.
The customers refused to learn.
The customers just aren't educated. Kent, you'll relate to this. Mercedes-Benz. So
I'm not being educated. Thanks.
No, Mercedes-Benz. I know you're an AMG enthusiast. They still, I read car news every day. They believe that the problem with the 4-cylinder C63 wasn't that it was 4 cylinders. It was that the customers weren't educated enough to understand why it was better than a V8.
Yes.
But they're still discontinuing it and bringing back the V8. They just think that the customers were wrong. They didn't make a mistake. Customers were just ignorant.
Something along that line to think about, especially with Microsoft. Where the hell are they going? Because last quarter they made $25 billion. And in the last month, they've laid off 12,000
employees.
12. Who are I don't get it. I'm not a communist, mind. I do like capitalism and entrepreneurship, but why are they cutting that many people?
9,000 today.
They're QA people, quality assurance. So
yes,
all these fun things that are going on right now with Microsoft and your MS365 and your Entra and Azure.
MS 359.
Have literal tickets open with them that have been orphaned because the person who was working on them no longer works there and didn't care to pass it on because why would they?
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to pump up.
See ya.
They're pumping up the stocks, and my dog agrees with me 100%. Mm-hmm. And they're going to sell towards the end of the year, and they're just going to walk off into the sunset. And the rest of us are going to hold on to our damn Windows 10 and 11 installs and watch our world crumble away and finally just go to Linux.
Finally, it's the year of the penguin.
These jobs were replaced by AI and some small shell scripts. I mean, let's just admit it.
That's what
I mean,
Windows 12 will be completely generated by AI. The code will be written by AI. All the quality testing will be done by AI.
And they will introduce EASS or EAAS, Employee as a Service. It's only there when you need them.
I kind of think you were right first. EASS.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the news is they fired 9,000 developers of their gaming studio. Xbox is absolutely in shambles. They talked about seriously about it. We had AAA developers. Well, we've created a quadruple A developer, and we're making all these things, and we're gonna, not only increase Xbox, but also PC gaming and redefine it all. And we're going to buy Activision and Blizzard. And then we're going to be like EA and just gut everything and cancel titles. Even though our bottom line was plus 25 billion last quarter, we're just going to nip it all in the bud.
It's not enough. Look at NVIDIA. They're setting the standard for the tech industry. And the shareholders are saying, how are they doing so well? What are you doing in the AI front? Why you have 9,000 employees that are human beings? Mm-hmm. You could replace those with NVIDIA-powered
and
AI coder bots.
I feel like this is close to the truth, actually, or somewhat true in many instances, unfortunately, for a lot of people.
Yeah, can you imagine the boardroom meeting? Like, why do we have 9,000 people working on something that we could just train a model to do?
Yeah. Or they secretly trained it and then fired everyone.
Yeah. Everybody's work was being fed into
that was LLM. My thought. Yeah. Or the new agentic, the agents.
And really, AI is very derivative. Obviously, it's all it can do is look at the existing stuff, steal from it. That's all the games industry is, really. There's very little innovation. There's a lot of sequels and remakes. Same as the film industry, really.
Hey, my company actually put an AI on my machine to try to replace me, but all the AI did was just watch YouTube videos and play Wordle.
A perfect replacement, in other words. Oh, wait.
Just all the AI did was slowly scroll menus from local restaurants.
Exactly. Yep. And order from burger places around town.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Suddenly, Born in a Barn had 73,000 orders last week. All right. Let's move on to some less terrifying news, like, batteries being a possible fire or explosive risk. So Anker, which already recalled power banks recently, has recalled another 5 models over fire risks.
Ouch.
And I feel like as many e-bikes as I see around, that's the next frontier. You're going to start having more and more cases of people being burned or killed by these cheaply
I don't know.
They're flaming bicycles going at 30 miles an hour with people screaming on top of them.
Yeah. With so many choices out there for power supplies, bricks, and these power banks and things like that, I thought myself, I surveyed a lot of them.
Anker seems,
actually zeroed
solid.
in on Anker as what I thought was a good recommendation.
They're the name that I know, so I'll just go to Amazon and buy Anker.
This is
Can't trust these. I want my batteries to be made in Japan. Is that too much to ask?
Yes.
Yes.
Japanese rechargeable batteries are usually really good. Like my Panasonic Eneloop double and AAA batteries, they're excellent. but they're not lithium ion. That technology is it's risky.
I have a couple of high-powered Anker USB like desktop chargers for like a whole suite of stuff that I park at a desk and plug like 4 or 5 things in at once. I'm waiting for the recalls on that now.
The answer,
the good news is that
60 or 70 watts is what's all together.
They didn't blow up. Just caught fire.
Just smoked a little.
This is more of a warning. We're just like, no, we don't trust these. We want them back. It's not so much that I think any of these models have actually gone off. I just think that they realized, oh, yeah, so Bob in procurement bought some cheap parts, and maybe that was a really bad idea, and let's just recall anything we made with them. But I could be wrong.
The volatility of the chemistry doesn't lend itself well to the kind of use that these battery banks get, which is like being left in a car, being thrown in a backpack, being subjected to shock, inconsistent charge-recharge cycles.
Do not taunt Happy Fun Power Pack.
Yeah. You know,
nice.
the LaCie, Brett will know this, the LaCie external drives back in the day, the rugged
Absolutely.
ones. As an Apple fan,
I can go get one.
You couldn't go into an Apple store in the early 2000s and not see one of these orange drives. And that's what we need. All battery packs need to have some kind of shock absorption frame around it. Come on, get with it, guys. So speaking of lithium batteries, actually, I think MacBooks use lithium polymer.
They do, LiPos. Yep.
Apple is going to release a cheaper MacBook powered by the iPhone processor, says the story at 9 to 5 Mac. Interesting. Well, I mean, not too surprising. It's already
It
close.
Isn't too surprising. The interface has become so much more iPhone-like over the years. I think the interesting thing here is that what Apple does, like it or not, for the most part, the industry follows in many ways. I think we're going to seeing this more and more and more of the crossover between mobile, obviously handheld mobile chips, and especially like some of the really good Samsung ones. You're going to be seeing more and more laptops.
Qualcomm desperately wants this. They want to see
absolutely
Qualcomm Snapdragon in everything, and it's not going to happen because for the reasons that we all know.
It doesn't make sense, but these are cheap. These are supposed to be cheap laptops.
So these are like Apple's version of a Chromebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah,
clearly. But Geekbench
the SoC isn't that
modified to make sure that the iPhone processor in a MacBook still has the best single-threaded performance of any laptop ever made.
It is going to be the best.
So when they say it's going to be less expensive, did they actually say how many thousands of dollars it would be?
Okay,
well, their low end now is currently like $1,000.
Is it
like $1,000?
Is it still $1,000?
Yeah, $999. So my guess is a few $100 bucks off. Figure $699, something like that, maybe. Just
okay. Let's see, MacBook Pro. Well, it's Pro. If it's a Pro,
this is a Mac. It's a MacBook, not a MacBook Pro.
Just a MacBook.
It's a MacBook.
Okay, sorry. Let's go back to Mac. The MacBook Air starts at $999. Wow, still.
Why are you surprised?
I don't know. I thought there was like $799 or something. I guess I just see them on.
It's got Apple Intelligence in it now.
Okay,
yeah. I think you're going to see more of this.
It's not working so well.
But making things worse, but or possibly charging less.
Yeah, but charging less for it for making things worse. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Finally, some exciting news in the BSOD world. The
thank goodness.
Blue screen of death. But thankfully, we don't have to come up with a new acronym because it's now the black screen of death. This is OLED friendly, and I applaud Microsoft for thinking of the OLED customers with their crashing Windows 11s and installs.
They've done away with the unhappy face, which is I think that's a minus. I'm going to say
friendly.
That's a miss. That's a miss.
I'm sorry.
Wrong.
Also, I don't see a QR code here. There's no QR code.
I feel like a little South Park.
And the small writing at the bottom. The small writing at the bottom, it says, your device ran into a problem and needs to restart. You're not doing so great either.
Critical process died.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
Let's hear what the vice president of enterprise and OS security at Microsoft said. This is
You mean the
attempt
ex-vice president?
On clarity and providing better information and allowing us and customers to really get to what the core of the issue is so we can fix it faster. Another complete nonsense business speak that was probably AI generated.
It's all about cleaner information.
Andy Rooney for that quote.
They're actually supposed to be adding some better debugging information too. But like I said, I think removing the unhappy face is a miss. They should put that back.
This is all just in the test. This is the exploratory phase of this. Don't worry. Microsoft is a fluid company. They try things. They
realize the damn QR code never led to anything other than another error page. So,
but once this one happens, it will never be the blue screen again, because once they go black, they'll never go back.
Never go back.
Kent is right. I mean, Kent would know from firsthand experience, and it's
that is the color of his AMG, right?
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is.
Black is the correct color for almost every car.
No.
Let's face it, it's timeless.
But don't worry, your IRQ still will be less than or equal to.
I was just thinking, what if Microsoft took out the QR code just out of pettiness? Because
did you ever try scanning one?
Well, what can you scan it with?
Yeah, we don't know what's wrong. Here's
an
some
iOS device
stuff.
or an Android device. Windows Phone died, and now they resent all smartphone users. They resent QR codes.
So you're saying they're trolling them with this?
Yeah,
they're trolling the
QR
smartphone.
code with your Windows. No, not
Sebastian,
Windows
they
Phone.
finally came out with the world's most perfectly secure smartphone. One that doesn't exist anymore. You can't hurt yourself with it anymore.
I was going to say one you don't actually use.
Yes.
I found one in the attic the other day, and I felt extremely nostalgic about it. Yeah, I have a Nokia Lumia 620 up there. Just I don't know why, just sitting up there. But every time I turn one of those on, I have another one somewhere. I love that interface. I would go back to a Microsoft phone in a heartbeat. I would use Edge for everything. I will give Microsoft all of my browsing history and data and let them just mine off of me because it's that good. If you haven't used it, the tiles are phenomenal because you can just literally, you can pick up your phone, glance at the home screen, and then get on with your life. Get in, get out, and get on with your life. All right, enough.
That's not what Gigo stands for.
Oh, okay.
Black Screen of Death coming to a PC near you soon.
Thank you. From videocards.com, returning to our roots, of course, and just shamelessly using all video card stories for our content every week. NVIDIA.
Not as shamelessly as Adobe uses their customers.
Oh.
Yikes. On the spot.
You didn't. Okay. NVIDIA giving away free month of Creative Cloud. It's a free month.
Yep. Careful where you point
RTX. Okay, that was for RTX 30 and 40 owners. If you have a 50 series, you get 2 months, and then they'll start recurring, the recurring charges of 25 or
but Adobe is a little bit shaky on. We didn't think we got that discontinue notice until the month after. Yeah, sorry, we charged you.
I'm sorry, you were 4 minutes late canceling this month. So.
Exactly. So yeah. Embrace that 1 month free, but be very careful if you want it.
It's $59 to $69 a month for the full Creative Cloud. So
on month 2.
Here's a month or 2 free. This should be like anytime you buy any computer, they should be giving away a month or 2. It's like AOL. Here's a free trial. AOL discs. They're going to start sending out Adobe CD-ROMs in the mail. We're going to use them as coasters.
I think I still have some Adobe CC CD-ROMs, actually.
Those were the days. You could actually buy it and own it.
Version 6.
Now, I'm not saying I ever actually paid for it, but I did appreciate the fact that after the serial number that I was entered in, that I never had to pay anything.
Yeah, where did you get that serial number again? I forget.
Probably from Adobe.com/
Probably.
It fell off the back of a truck somewhere. I don't know.
Yep.
This guy on a street corner had a trench coat. I always walk by and he'd say, "Hey, you want a serial number for a piece of software?"
He downloaded the DMG from Napster. We all know that.
I have some bad news for you guys. DDR4 now more expensive than DDR5.
Oh no.
If you haven't moved over to DDR5, consider doing so as soon as you can.
Didn't AMD just release a new Vcache CPU for their boards that use DDR4? What was it?
I guess there's some AM4 boards.
Oh yeah, the what
still
5500 X3D or
That's
something
it.
like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
They just released it within the past month.
Yeah, you shouldn't be on
something
that
like that.
platform. Move on to AM5. Better I/O
Let's do it.
through
What
research.
can I say?
That's AMD's slogan.
didn't-
Better I/O through
I didn't
research.
release a new CPU for DDR4 boards.
Whatever happened
it's
to those
just-
good old combo boards where I could get DDR4 and DDR5 and watch them both?
What happened to those
not
combo
work
boards where I could
properly?
put two different kinds of processors on there? Slot 1 and socket 370.
Slocket. Yeah.
Boom. I don't even need the slocket. I've got them both on there.
Yeah, but you couldn't do multi processing with that. It would,
No,
it
you
would just
couldn't.
cut off
No,
one or the
No,
other. It was
it would
bad.
get
You
very
couldn't do
mad.
multi-memory with. I had an 8-bit board that took DDR and DDR2, but it specifically stated not to do both at once. Did I listen? No.
No.
Of course not. But then only one.
So
one
suddenly
little one together.
a microscopic black hole opened up over Michigan.
Memory latency has an impact, says Razer, when your 8 gigabyte video card starts having to use system memory, and then you need every bit of latency you can get. I understand.
Well, but can I map the DDR4 to the GPU and then the system uses the DDR5? And I don't want to give anyone ideas here.
very
That would
This
just be
is
bad.
technology from 2006. You know, both
Yeah.
AMD and NVIDIA, they did just shared memory.
Oh, that AMD hybrid.
Oh, no.
Get this specific processor and this specific GPU, and
Then think of the laptops
synergy
that integrated
would change
that.
your life.
There were some really bad AMD-powered laptops just a decade or so ago. Thankfully, we're past that. All right. It's time for Insecurity Corner.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
And our first story, Cisco Unified Communications Manager unintentionally provides a good reason to dump those desk phones.
Oh, what?
I
Right,
mean, there
Jeremy
are still
Hellstrom.
people that use desk phones, and they also happen to use Cisco Unified Communications Manager, which has a hard-coded root user
Oh, no.
in it. Because,
Joy.
you know, why would this be a bad thing? It would be very handy when you're, you know, testing and developing to have a hard-coded root SSH cred embedded in your bloody operating system. But some people, and I guess these are just weird people, but they choose to remove that when they put it out to public use. Cisco, the brave mavericks that they are, continue to do this sort of thing again and again and again and again. You can't do anything without upgrading to the newest version of Cisco. There is no easy way to fix, or there is literally no way to fix this without upgrading. And if you've dealt with Cisco before, that means the first thing that when you try and get that patch, they're going to say is, so you still have a contract active with us that you're paying every month, right? You're like, no, I bought the Cisco equipment from a third party. And then they hang up on you. And
They
you can't
laugh
get
and hang up on you. And
Yes.
they say, you know what? If you enjoy this, wait until you try Broadcom, because Broadcom's bought everything. And now you need a contract for all your Broadcom crap, or they won't talk to you. No, you can't update ESXi, even though that stuff used to be available freely. No, you got to contract it all, or else you're jacked. Thanks,
Yep.
Broadcom. To the new
Thank
Cisco.
you.
I hope you're happy.
I think they both are Josh, which is upsetting.
Ooh. That's
deeply,
Josh
deeply
Squinty-eyed look.
upsetting.
That's squinty.
Oh, no, it's-
Wow.
I detect a hint of personal experience in that comment.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah, they bought up Carbon Black as well, and
Yep.
it used to be a pretty good antivirus, and now it's Broadcomed. And Broadcom now is getting Carbon Black, so it blocks all of Microsoft 365 apps when Microsoft updates Office 365, which is like weekly. So we have to manually go in there. I'm
livid, beside yourself, ready to sniff disintegrated mouse pad.
I'm going to march on headquarters. I'm going to march, not, claiming any violence, but I'm going to march.
Yes.
We are very upset, People need to take me seriously.
By the way, Alex in the chat points out that Cisco, after the Thong Song, it's been all downhill. So really a one-hit wonder.
Fair.
Truly.
That's actually a fair point. But yeah, so if you're using Cisco stuff, just dump it and buy. Wait, what can't you can't get?
What do you buy? What do you buy?
That's a damn good question. That's it. Get the soldering iron out and start making your own switches and routers. And
be sure that you
systems.
do buy, because if you just pirate, then pending the Supreme Court's decision, your ISP might be forced to disconnect you if you've been accused of piracy.
Very interesting case
What a bunch of cocks.
Very interesting case regarding who's culpable, who's liable when an end user has pirated material. For a while there, the copyright holder was going after the ISP. They have successfully argued, I guess, in front of the latest Supreme Court with this administration to say, and they've backed them to say, hey, we can't do anything to stop users from doing this, and we shouldn't be liable for what they did using our connection.
Wait. So you're saying that companies like Cox with tons of money were able to successfully lobby politicians in Washington to get them to say that they're not responsible.
That this, if there's a decision that they're looking to overturn that currently subjects the ISPs to potential liability for all sorts of this copyright infringement, they're looking to overturn this because otherwise, where do they draw the line? I guess they're looking for saying, where is the liability end?
Congress recruiter or a Senate member that gets caught pirating and gets cut off. And
but what if it's an unproven
disappear?
What if it's an unproven allegation, which means that simply any copyright holder, say myself, could say, "Oh, that's copyright material that guy's got," and I'm going to contact their ISP and say, "Shut that person off." If that's all it takes, they're wondering kind of where the line is.
Before, and it went well, didn't it?
Well, no, not really.
Wait, are you saying that if somebody in my household or somebody who just stole access to my wireless network at home,
sharing
downloading software illegally, that I am culpable for this? I think I have plausible deniability. I don't know how those files got on my system.
And this is very, very
Do you
messy.
have camera footage of me clicking on that download link?
But yet,
you have that
I thought it was a free demo. I don't know.
The current order is your ISP cuts you off. So obviously we can come up with numerous
what about 3
scenarios
strikes?
where
Should I get a note
unfair.
from the ISP that says, "Hey, please delete these files. Sign this digital form that says you deleted the files."
I know that when I got that
personal experience at all.
I know that when I got that letter.
Phishing.
Yeah,
but I didn't say that out loud.
That's definitely phishing. That's not legitimate.
It felt real in like 2004.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a serious situation. I'm not sure which side to come down on. I'd probably veer away from cutting people's internet access off, which is the current law, essentially. So I'm probably behind the administration saying, please remove culpability from the ISP.
If somebody is punished for hacking and one of their punishments is you're never allowed to use a computer again. Oh, yeah, tell the hacker what they can't do. Like they're never going to be able to figure that out again. They'll be at a Burger King drive-through using, the terminal and getting in there. And they'll find a way. Saying they can't own a smartphone in their life, there's no way to stop it. They'll buy one at Walgreens for $79. All right. Android 16 can now warn you about fake mobile networks trying to track your location and steal your identity. It's a major step forward for smartphone protection. Android 16 ensuring your safety. You know, I don't know what Apple's doing.
I bet your
to
Windows
make sure
phone
that
can
I'm
never do
safe.
this.
But Google, not only do they have better AI capabilities than Apple does, but they also have enhanced security.
You know, I don't know when this is coming. To be honest with you, it sounds like a great idea.
When
Hackers
is
are
it coming?
setting up.
It's coming in Android 16.
No, hang on. Wait, there's a little caveat
Oh.
to this.
Oh,
Okay, but the situation they're setting up is very real. You know, ad hoc networks that your phones are potentially auto joining.
Yes.
Local like cell sites. What do they call those? Like small cell site simulators and things to get your phone to join the strongest
no one
symbol
calls
or
them
the
cell
strongest
site
signal.
simulators. They're just fake cell signals
Fake cells.
that you can now intercept. It's not got its own name. Leave it alone.
It's got, but it's
Bad
a thing.
network.
Okay. So the problem here is that this sort of capability isn't coming to phones that can potentially run 16. It's only coming to some very latest devices. There are a few very new Samsung devices that might be able to run this protective coating around them, but new generations of phones are potentially going to be able to do this. Existing ones that could potentially run Android 16 aren't going to be able to do this. It's a great idea, but it's not going to help the existing fleet of phones out there. Sorry.
The comment they put at the bottom is the one that drives me the most nuts.
Which one?
You get even more protection with the 2G network. Because
I forgot about the 2G
network
thing.
Completely right now exists to scam you. The only reason you're going to see a 2G network is because someone is bloody got a cell repeater going and they are taking everything that you're putting up through the cell network. There's no reason a phone should even be able to talk to the 2G network anymore.
They should shut that off. But your phone still can. So if you've got a strong 2G signal that's essentially blanketing out other more remote 5G or 4G
and kids can buy that for about $70
cell towers. Yeah, exactly. Your phone will potentially connect to this 2G network, and because of the older signaling and the older technologies, it had a lot less privacy.
Since when
attached
is
to it.
any 2G still out there at all?
It's not. But your phones are still connecting.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because they have the bands for it.
Yeah.
So when they
you can buy those things for $50 to $70, set it up, and grab some sticky tape and put it up somewhere, and intercept
when your phone is set up to join closest strongest, which most phones are, you can potentially overpower.
You know, Apple would never let me do
towers.
that with my iPhone.
They're
looking out for me.
Honestly, I don't know. I can't say.
And
that
if that network is
still on a
sus,
GSM signal,
you won't connect to it.
Do you remember GSM?
Tim has promised.
We'll never need anything more than GSM. GSM is fine.
We don't need any more than Edge. Not in our browsing lives and not in our mobile lives.
I want to see you guys fight it out for Edge right now. This was a great discussion.
Mm-hmm. It really was.
I was hoping to see.
And on that note, let's end Insecurity Corner for the week and move to Gaming Quick Hits. Here's an interesting topic. What's the best handheld PC to take on vacation? This is a really open-ended question. I think we should have an extended discussion about this. I have first-hand experience with only one gaming handheld PC device thing, and it's not the Steam Deck. Surprisingly, I have an ROG Ally in the house. It was on sale for $200 off. It was kind of a dumb impulse buy. But it was to fill this exact need, family vacation, because my wife became addicted to Fortnite. My son already was. And it was just a way to lessen.
I am in shock that it wasn't an N-Gage.
The burden. Well, you can't play Fortnite on an N-Gage.
How do you know? Have you tried?
I haven't tried. But Fortnite on the ROG Ally is pretty bad. So you have to set some settings really low. It looks bad. It's barely 30 frames per second. And that's at everything set to low.
Not a good experience.
No. But
did they continue playing, or?
No, they still played the match.
Oh.
So gaming handheld PCs, rock, paper, shotgun. Rock, paper,
Apparently
shotgun.
You
took a look.
Want to look at the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus.
The newer ones have the newer platform from AMD.
Well, apparently it's as amazing as the old one sucked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it is the performance king.
See, everybody's going to
Really?
say Steam Deck OLED, of course.
Yeah, overall.
Right.
I mean, it's
but
a gorgeous OLED, and
unfortunately,
OLEDs sip power.
here's the problem with the Steam Deck. Unless you do your own Windows install on it, which I guess is possible, you can't run Epic games. So if you have a bunch of games in your Epic library, not Steam, you need to look elsewhere. And I have not personally used an MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, but when I see best for performance, it usually means worse for battery life. So also it's almost 800 grams. I do not understand why.
No, it's performance, but
here is the problem with everybody but with Valve here. Valve and Nintendo actually figured this out. Use a low resolution screen. It may not sound very spicy to have 1280 by 800, but you don't need any more than that from the distance that you're actually kind of holding this.
Makes total sense.
When you're having to render everything at 1080, that's the major issue.
But you want a Retina display on your display.
The ROG Ally, I'll run it in 1600 by 900 pixel mode, and because it's a non-integer scale, it looks soft as heck. It looks like absolute garbage. You cannot read any text that's below a certain size. So it's just, I don't understand. The full HD screen, that sounds good, but in practice, it robs you of battery life and it makes the GPU work too hard. And Steam, they have a win here by just having less. Less is more.
Well, go with Lenovo then. The Go is an 8.8-inch IPS screen.
But it's an Intel platform.
Stuff on it.
I thought.
Oh, apart from that, no, it's awful. But it's got a big screen.
Oh, no. This one, the Legion Go AMD Ryzen, I thought they had one that was Intel powered.
They do? Don't buy it.
Okay.
There's a reason they're not talking about it.
Yeah. There is not one store I can think of where I can go in and actually try all these out side by side and figure out what's going to work best for me and demo real games.
A little odd, isn't it? It's kind of strange.
It's just one of those things. It's like, hey, read online reviews, watch YouTube videos, and then just buy one sight unseen on Amazon, and then return it when your preferred game platform or the title that you wanted to play the most absolutely sucks. So really, it's just the Steam Deck. Just buy a Steam Deck. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's the Nintendo Switch of these handhelds.
Yeah, which didn't show up at all in this at all. The Switch 2.
No, it's not a PC.
Speaking of Steam, we're really hoping that saves us all when Windows 10 finally goes EOL. Please, Steam.
Are you going to move to Steam OS, are you?
Love it.
Yeah. Let's stick with rock, paper, shotgun for this next story. Rogue Trader devs, Owlcat, discuss their Expanse
that's the only game they've ever done.
RPG. It'll be, quote, very open, end quote. But sadly, there is no spaceship combat. Now, people who understand what any of that means probably understand what that means. I don't.
So you've never watched The Expanse, then?
No.
Okay. I think you may be missing out. Seriously, good show. You might want to check it out.
No, thanks. More on the story from the panelists who care.
Yep. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, space combat's a big deal in The Expanse. It's I think it's a miss in them not putting it in the game. Why is that?
Because Nebulous Fleet Command is a thing. And that is the insane space combat one where you're spinning up your ship and programming missiles and dealing with point defense and stuff like that, which would drive your average gamer absolutely frickin' nuts.
And not to mention that Expanse was somewhat realistic in the physics of space combat. So you're engaging targets hundreds of kilometers away. It's tough.
So it would ruin the gameplay for so many people because they would hit that first space combat and they would quit hard and never come back to it.
Right, because it's not arcade like.
It's Newtonian for one thing. You know how much people get pissed off by Newtonian physics when they're trying to do a space sim?
Remember Independence War?
Yep.
I War? Yeah, that was about the closest that you could get to Newtonian physics on that. I mean, you had encounters hundreds of kilometers away, and closing speed made it so you had shots that were fractions of a second that you had to make and do. Yeah.
I can't remember whether it was a Free Space or a Star Wars one, but they did a total conversion for Babylon 5. And
Free
that
Space.
one was pure.
It was called I Found Her. It was called I Found Her.
I can't. Do you remember what game engine it was they modded, though?
Oh, actually,
that's the part I can't remember.
I think it was Free Space, honestly.
I think it was Free Space too, regardless.
It was a Free Space mod.
Insane, because the first mission you're trying to deal with, spinning around and dealing with it, and then you got this chance to go out and get to a Mindari cruiser, and you're like gunning yourself over there as fast as you can, and then you realize, oh shit, I have to slow down.
Yes,
this is a problem. Oops.
Yeah. You've got to turn around halfway if you want to stop.
Yeah, no. So that's why I think it was probably a good idea for them not to do that, because the last ones they did were Telltale games, weren't they? Like Telltale did a point and click sort of an Expanse one, if I recall correctly.
I don't know. Let me see.
But so this will probably be more first-person shooter, which will probably drive people nuts too, because you can climb on the ceiling, as evidenced by the trailer that they provide.
Yeah, I think Kent fell asleep. Kent, are you awake?
Oh,
yeah, I'm here.
I wanted to be first.
Oh, okay.
We did say this was a napping show.
Yeah, I mean...
No, I just was listening to the comments about games that I never played.
Yes, I'm with you.
Mir
points
out that it was Free Space 2. Thank you very much, because there's a big difference.
The best Free Space, by the way.
You reminded me,
Free Space 2.
Kent, of William Shatner sitting down for Q&A. Do you remember in the first season, episode 17, where...
It was just a show, Josh. It was just a show.
Get a life.
Yeah, it's just the thing that made me who I am and gives me all the opportunities I have and an unlimited revenue stream anytime I want to stop by a convention or make an appearance somewhere. But it was just a show. It was just a show that completely changed my life and made me wealthy.
I mean, we've already had a couple
Shatner
of
was robbed of an Academy Award nomination for his performance in the movie Incubus, where the entire film was in Esperanto.
It's true. They did do that, and no one died because of it, which is unfortunate. I don't condone murdering people who make bad movies, but I'm just saying.
By the way, when you see a product shot on an IKEA coffee table,
featuring natural wood,
natural lights, not the beer,
well lit,
the actual from the sun.
It's not Josh on his white marble. No, it is not.
Not the white marble that's almost always kind of yellowish until I, filter out the yellow.
Yes.
In the photo editing process.
No, that's just the urine staining I put on the.
I was hoping that it was. Never mind.
I was hoping we wouldn't cover that.
Yeah. Crucial. They have set their sights on the Gen 5 crown again. As you know, the T700 came out 2 years ago, and it shocked the world. It redefined the entire industry because all of a sudden we had Gen 5 speeds. Look, those sequentials were just incomparable because there was nothing to compare them to. So the definition of the word. And then they had the T705, just an iterative upgrade, slightly faster, a little bit better overall. But Samsung finally this year released their first high-performance Gen 5 drive, and it took the crown. The 9100 Pro is really good. Now, Western Digital has the WD Black SN8100, which is actually a SanDisk product. If you go to WD, it says go to SanDisk. We've spun off all of our Flash products. It's confusing because it's still called a WD Black. But anyway, we don't have one of those. So I was not able to test against the WD Black SN8100. Unfortunately, what Crucial says about the T710 is that compared to the T705, it has 42% higher random write, 28% higher random read, and then 9% higher sequential writes, 24% reduction in average power, though, and a 47% shorter heatsink which is important for the heatsink version because now it's PS5 compatible. The old one had a monstrous heatsink on it that was twice as tall as a lot of the ones out there on the market. They sent us one without a heatsink, though, so I did not do any PS5 testing. Here it is, the T710 Gen 5 by 4 SSD. And I threw it on the test platform, which features a 9800 X3D, extremely low latency DDR5 6000, and some of the latest, Windows build, chipset drivers, all that good stuff. Out of the box, using the default peak performance settings from Crystal Disk Mark, it was actually slightly below the rated speeds. You don't usually see this from an empty drive. Usually it's slightly higher with Crystal Disk Mark, until I realized Crystal Disk Mark defaults to 1 gigabyte transfer size. And when I went back and looked at Crucial's stated speeds, they were basing it on a 1 megabyte transfer size. So hence the disparity there, but still very close to the 14,500. I got 14,480 on the sequential reads. 13,800 is what they say for the writes. I only got 13,397. Again, much larger transfer size. And I didn't go back and retested the smaller transfer because I've never tested at 1 megabyte before. So looking at individual Q depth results, though, much more interesting, especially when you look at QD1. This drive, the T710, has astonishing QD1 performance. The T705 was already the best we'd ever tested in that regard. The Samsung 9100 Pro, it's slightly faster overall, but at Q depth of 1, at least sequential read, much slower. This new T710 is way faster, again, at QD1 for sequential reads anyway. And this was a preconditioned drive. I had it half full, just like the other drives. And it was at 9,339 megabytes per second. And that's a QD1. It's ridiculous. You usually see that number climb closer and closer to the manufacturer's stated numbers at QD4 and above. And here we are. Very, very impressive at QD1. And still sequential writes at QD1. Also the best we've ever seen. So
kids, that's what you want is Q depth 1, unless you've got multiple people accessing your computer and playing games at the same time, which I hope you don't.
And here's what's surprising. Even at 4K random, at all Q depths, the new T710, 4K random read, the fastest drive we've ever tested. It's faster at QD1. It's faster at QD2, and the lead just grows. By QD8, I guess the 9100 Pro is more competitive, but the Crucial T710 still wins. So how on earth is it that when I run PC Mark, and look at this, random write was even more impressive?
Wow.
And by the way, this is interesting. Look at the QD8 random write performance. 666.22 megabytes per second. And then in PC Mark, 66622 was their measured bandwidth. So apparently PC Mark is measuring QD8 4K random write. That is my guess. I don't know why those two numbers would be exactly the same otherwise. But in PC Mark 10 full drive benchmark, the 9100 Pro was still slightly faster. It's only 57 points higher. A little bit higher bandwidth overall in that test. I'm not sure what happened there. I should probably rerun both drives. But for whatever reason, even though all the numbers suggest otherwise, at least from Crystal Disk Mark, in PC Mark 10, which is a more real-world scenario, the 9100 Pro is still a little bit faster. And here's the problem for Crucial. It's not, a subjective benchmark result like that. It's that the price that Samsung is currently selling this 9100 Pro for is 20% off. So, yeah, the list price from Samsung is $299, but they never sell things for, list. They take a percentage off. The retailers have some kind of incentive. It's currently just $239 for the Samsung drive at 2 terabytes. And Crucial is launching this at $279.99. So is it worth the extra $40 for faster performance in the things that matter, like QD1 and random read-write? Or, I mean, are you going to notice the difference if you save $40 and just get the Samsung drive? So
But
I did not give it the editor's choice.
Picoseconds back.
Yes, I want those picoseconds back. It still gets the gold award. It's an impressive piece of technology. The only thing keeping it from our highest award level is that the price is not as competitive as it could be versus Samsung.
You're not factoring in the Creative Cloud temptation. Because it does come with a free Creative Cloud for a little bit, doesn't it?
I don't know. Everything does. It's the new AOL. Hey, try Creative Cloud, and then we'll start billing you $70 a month.
Yeah, that's pretty much
minimum 1 year.
All right, so that's the T710. Check out the review at PCPer.com if you want to agonize over the words and the charts some more. It's time for Picks of the Week. Josh, wake up, unmute yourself.
Let's go. Don't want to mute myself. Why? Because my voice sounds bad and I'm stupid.
Aww.
Huh.
Hey, Josh, did you bring a tackle box?
No.
For that compliment fishing trip you just went on. All right, please continue.
I've been getting back more into racing stuff. And one that I bought ages ago and ignored for some strange reason. I tried again and looked awful because it was released in 2014. But then I discovered all the mods for it and the things you can add and easy ways to do it, and lots of videos out there telling you how to do it. And the original Assetto Corsa is really an outstanding racing sim for only $5 right now due to the Steam sale. And so, yeah, get it, watch some videos, download some free mods, make it look like a modern racing sim with good physics, lots of cars, lots of tracks, good times had by all. So yeah, $5. Do it.
Josh, do you think that playing a game involving car racing made in 2014 could potentially provide the same level of realism with regard to driving a real car as a game made in 2025? Do you think car physics have changed in 11 years?
No.
Okay. All right.
The physics of the actual car probably hasn't changed, but perhaps the ability to model it has.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah,
that's the funny thing is that we've got a Assetto Corsa Cabezon, which is a GT3 simulator, and they have higher physics and tire models and stuff, and it doesn't make a huge difference. I mean, it is some, and now they've got Evo coming out, which is still in early access, and they're things from each of them, which is better than the other. It's kind of bizarre. So, really,
Do you think it's pole position?
It's not Test Drive 1 or whatever that is, or pole position is 1984, which I had.
Seems to be on the Atari 2600.
Yeah. So, but no, the state of racing. I mean, people still running Richard Burns Rally. That was from like 2002, 2003 with mods, and they still claim it's the best feeling sim for rally out there.
So Newtonian physics are tolerated there. Newtonian physics are tolerated in a racing sim, but not in space combat. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Unless you're playing Cyberpunk 2077 and you got that mod that gives you the flying car that does a couple of million clicks an hour.
I just want to say
we weren't talking about crossovers.
That the ultimate racing sim was released more than 2 decades ago. It was, of course, from Papyrus Racing. We're talking about NASCAR Racing 2002 season. Strap yourself in.
You paid full fare for that too.
Because maybe the graphics don't hold up like they want. This was a challenging game to play back in the day, though. I did not have the graphics card that could handle this and give me anywhere near a smooth frame rate, but the level of realism in this game, and it was astonishing. And I wasn't even a big NASCAR fan, but I became more of a NASCAR fan after playing this game. And when I realized everything that actually goes into the setup of a car and how close you are to blowing an engine, because there's so many trade-offs. It's so deep. It's an RPG, really.
With tires.
Yes. All right. Sorry. Humble Bundle. Roll big or go home. Speaking of RPGs, you can get. I don't know if all of these are RPGs. Is Avatar Legends? Oh, I guess it's a role playing.
Yes, it is.
Role playing Transformers game. Are these books or games? They're books.
This is role playing games, as in you force people to show up and play in person.
Old school. Yes.
This is a mix of everything. I just kept scrolling through it, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm literally going to have to pick this because there's a homeworld role-playing game. There's one where, hey, I don't really want to do anything interesting. Okay, we can play cats, or we can be crows.
Are you still scrolling these games? There's still more of them?
Hey, there's some RuneQuest in here. We have, cat RPGs. You've got the G.I. Joe role-playing game. There's something for everyone.
Existed. All of Cthulhu.
Punk is
Warhammer Fantasy.
Cyberpunk
hilarious.
Red.
Cyberpunk Red, which is what the new one is. So yeah, I just kept looking at this and I'm like, no, you could literally just inflict this upon anyone because they're going to come up with, oh, well, I'm only going to play a role-playing game if I get to B. Guess what? This package probably has it.
Look at the value. Ebooks are not cheap if you go to places and actually look at what they charge the publishers. This is a $1,227 value. Yours for just $40.
57 games.
You can't afford not to buy this and have PDFs sitting in a folder somewhere that you will never look at again.
And we're talking about value.
It's all about bumping your library. Get it fat.
It's all about
big.
We need a better e-reader. We need a PDF-sized Kindle again, but this time with a color screen. It needs to happen. Ebooks.
There is a color screen for Kindle.
But it's...
Yes, DOSWAX X, that there's a problem, is that it's DOSWAX, it's going to be a lot of freaking codes to enter. There's going to be a lot of them to put in. But I'm sorry, there are some decent values. That Warhammer Fantasy is about 1,000 pages deep. There is some smegging good stuff in there and some utter crap, but it might be fun just to pull it out. I'm just really mad that they don't have the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing in there.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that thing is rare.
Yes, it was bizarre. I used to have it. Lost it in the fire.
Sorry.
The Weasel was way overpowered, but fun to play.
Oh, you know what? I completely forgot this. I thought this was Gaming Quick Hits for a second. I'm sorry, Jeremy, for walking all over that. That was your pick.
Oh, it's fine.
Not? Okay.
I was going to go for a 16 gig AMD card for the price in Canada that we would pay in the States, but this was just too entertaining.
I have a 16 meg ATI card that I could pick that's actually sitting nearby in a box, but...
Yeah, we picked something different.
I know. I've picked the ATI Expert 128 before, so I won't do that again. Kent.
Anyways, Brett.
Oh, Brett. Oh, see, whatever. Brett, who cares? Someone else.
What are you? Him. Them.
I should be demoted since I've done such a poor job of hosting this week.
I'll go. So these devices are fairly expensive, especially for switching high resolution monitors amongst a number of different computers. But Amazon has a kind of like a overstock and a sales site that I don't really troll through very often, but I was looking through it and I saw this 4K 60 hertz display port.
Woot.com?
No, this is not Woot. This is on Amazon's like overstock area. So this is a 4K 60 hertz DisplayPort KVM switch for 2 monitors and up to 4 computers with DisplayPort 1.2 for $44 with 10% off coupon. So it's $40.
This is
for
not
up to 4 PCs on 2 monitors.
It's 4 feces?
4 PCs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard feces.
Or 4 PCs.
Is Brett hauling rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong or something? Or
No, that was someone else who recommended that earlier today.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure this
below.
is. I'm not sure this is for the gamer because it only does switch. 60
I'm not
hertz.
sure that this is Wendell L1T approved. Honestly, it's not
It
one of
does
Wendell's
get-
KVMs.
It does get 4 stars, but there's only 2 ratings for this particular
And
one.
one of them is the company itself giving itself 5 stars. But, yeah,
I mean, it's possible.
The other one is Bronx.
it's definitely possible.
But for $40,
But
and
there's
this is
also a
something you
10%
may
coupon.
need.
Yes. So it's just
Yes,
40.
for $40.
Wait, you just said $40. Okay.
I did. This is, if you might need something like this for business use, perhaps, because again, this is probably not for gaming. This is for switching amongst a bunch of gaming monitors, the 60.
But you just said it wasn't for gaming. Now you're saying it's for switching between gaming monitors. Make up your mind, Brent.
If it's for switching between gaming monitors at 60 hertz, it's not for you. Let me finish my sentence. Thank you very much.
it's a good KVM, Bront.
It is. It's a reasonably good KVM for not a
Listen,
lot of money.
Bart. You can't say it's for gamers and then say it isn't for gamers.
Exactly. And by the way, my name is
who?
Frank.
Quite frankly, I don't give a
Surely
damn.
you're kidding.
Who's next? Kent. If that
That's
is your
me.
real name.
That is my real name. So, Jeremy last week inspired me with a really good game that was super
Lies.
cheap. So this week, I have picked another very, very good game that is, again, super cheap. This is a classic horror game, the original Alan Wake, for $1.49.
Wow.
Enough said.
It seems like
this one doesn't
90%
have
off
DLSS.
isn't enough.
This one doesn't have DLSS 4, though. Like, how can you play games without frame generation?
I don't
We
think
used to
you
do
want
that.
more frames in this game because then you would be having 4 feces like Brett was talking about.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to make you leave the light. That's what I'm going to do. You're going to leave the light. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not
Get out
leaving the light.
Get out of the light, Kent. Get out of the light.
All right, my pick this week is somewhat tech related, but only because I'm the kind of person who just kind of nerds out about everything I get interested in. And at around the age of 12, I was introduced to the game of golf. And for me,
Oh, I
of
thought we
course,
were going
that meant-
someplace else. Oh, for
No.
God's sakes. Thank
No,
you. I
Apparently
appreciate
his
that.
balls dropped when he was
That-
12.
That meant
I thought we were going to have like a whole different kind of conversation.
I've been following the golf tech industry, golf equipment, for 33 years now. Since 1994. That's actually not 33 years. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Wilson.
Since he first saw Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Fair.
Happy Gilmore hadn't even been made.
Okay,
when I
Caddyshack.
was- Adam Sandler was still on SNL at the time. But Wilson makes a golf ball that, after some extensive research and, golf ball review YouTube videos and things like that, I discovered these Wilson Staff Zip golf balls. There's so many golf balls. If you go into a store, a golf pro shop, there's some that are like $45, $55 a box. There's really cheap stuff. Some stuff has changed over time. One of the golf balls I used to think of as like a go-to for a really inexpensive ball was the Noodle, which was a MaxFly product, I believe. MaxFly was purchased by, I think, Dick's Sporting Goods / Golf Galaxy, and now the Noodle Long and Soft is a tailor-made product, and it's a 34 compression golf ball. Now, frame of reference, if you're not into golf balls or golf in general, The compression ratio of a golf ball is roughly the miles per hour of your club head speed. You should not be using 100 compression golf balls because they will not be able to compress. They're only 50 compression, which seems low. Dimple pattern of these balls. Precept EV extra spin. Very shallow dimples. There are 302 of. The important thing is they actually perform pretty well. They have good feel around the greens because it's a soft Sirlin type cover. And
so do I.
And
Jeremy, he's alive.
Only about 50. Can I just real quick? There's right now on Amazon. It's $32 for a 24 pack. They're currently $32.97. Anyway, for about $30 or about $15 a box, you can get yourself the Wilson Staff Zip. It is surprisingly good. And let's just end the podcast. Let's go into music. The music. Bring up the music. Thank you for watching, listening to the PC Perspective podcast. We've done it again. They thought we had said all we had to say. They didn't think, the detractors, the naysayers, they didn't think that we could ever top last week.
They said, "You'll never podcast again in this town." That's what they said.
They counted on us to be non-verbose.
They counted wrong.
We were.
You know,
That's right.
we had the one guy on YouTube last week who said these guys just talk randomly and don't do any in-depth analysis. What he didn't realize is we say the
that's
in-depth analysis
correct.
for his mom.
Oh.
No, that was uncalled for.
That was insightful, and you can go to youtube.com.
We're going back to the old balls comment now, so
and leave insightful comments
did
like,
we ever leave it?
you guys do almost no research about any of this stuff, which is completely untrue. I mean, we're extremely knowledgeable people. We're one of the top 20
Minutes.
podcasts
Actually,
of all-
Minutes of attention, I tell
10.
you.
of all
Top
time.
10. Top 10.
Top
Inside
10.
the top 10.
Billboard Hot 100.
If David
We're
Letterman
like
was
number
still
4
on, he'd be
in the Billboard
talking
Hot
about
100
us.
in the podcast category for computer podcasts.
Oh, don't worry, Mad Hatter. We don't feel insulted. That isn't something that we feel. We're
No, I mean, constructive
really.
criticism,
not-
like you guys are boring
like
and don't know
it.
what you're talking about. We appreciate constructive criticism like that. Okay. All right.
Where
well,
did that even come from?
Baseball bat,
Yeah, I'm
David
not sure,
Wilson.
but it's time to
Baseball
say
bat.
goodbye. It's been another week.
In the top 10 of AI generated.
PC Perspective podcast. That's
you're all fired. Every single one of you.